Hello and welcome back. Let's talk about conflict. I'm Lynne Nash. I'm your host, and we're talking a little bit about the who, what, and where this is conflict. What's going on? Why? And who is this seriously curly head crazy lady who wants to talk about this stuff? It's me. Why, yes, it's me. Um, Thanks for being here today. This is all quite new for us. And of course, as always, please give us some feedback wherever you can so that we can build a podcast that you actually want to come back and listen to. I promise you it will not just be the Lynne Nash talking head forever, but for right now, hang in there. And let me know who you might want to hear from, people in the legal community or in the business community, and I'll see if I can help out. Again, I'm in Dallas, Texas. It's dark out. It's the end of my day. But I wanted to get another recording in here so you guys have something to listen to. So, what is conflict? Lawyers think about the who, what, where, when, why, how of everything they deal with. So today we're going to talk about what. So what is conflict? I think most people kind of have a sense of it, and they have a sense of what it feels like and what it looks like in their world, and that's different for everybody. I'm pretty tolerant of a lot happening, but not everybody is. So I want to use a definition. Yes, I'm an academic at heart, so have patience. What is conflict? That's what I want to talk about first. There is an incredible website called Word Hippo. Yes, WORDHIPPO.com. It is incredible. If you are still doing a lot of writing like I do, and you're thinking through words and definitions and verbs and all of the, how do I really want to phrase this? And I need a synonym or maybe an antonym, and I want to think about this differently. Go to wordhippo.com. I am literally not getting paid for this, but it is the best website. It's fabulous. One of the law students that I work with, she said, "Oh, do you know Word Hippo?" I said, "I do." I felt like 10 times cooler that, someone in their early 20s is like, "You don't know something." And I'm like, "I do," because it is amazing. It is that good. So enough about Word Hippo. But Word Hippo's definition for conflict reads like this. Conflict means a clash or disagreement, often violent, between two opposing groups or individuals, and incompatibility as of two things that cannot be simultaneously fulfilled. Yeah, that's a lot of like big 10-cent words, right? Two things that cannot be simultaneously filled. We can't do this thing all at once. This dog don't hunt. This ain't gonna work, right? Let's put it into terms that make sense to me. But I think I want to talk to you a little bit about the fact that Word Hippo also gives us a verb form of conflict, which is, I think, really what we talk about here on Let's Talk About Conflict is kind of the action of conflict, and then maybe the skills of how to help the sensation of being in a conflict, right? So Word Hippo tells us the verb form of conflict is to be at odds with. Be at odds. I really kind of like that. Be at odds with, or to disagree, or to be incompatible. Incompatible. Okay. So here's these two definitions. Here's the noun definition and the verb definition. And we're going to break this down. So these definitions are using words like disagree, violence, incompatibility, odds, to be at odds, to be not on equal footing, to not see things the same way, you can say that a lot of different ways. So who wants to be around disagreeable, violent, or incompatible people or situations? Me, I do. I'm like that really weird freak, that curly redhead who's like, no, I think this is worth wading into. Um, Most people would not say yes. Most people would not say they want to do that. And it's okay. You don't have to be me. You don't have to enjoy pulling the threads to untie the knot. That is 100% what I do for a living and what I feel like I was put on this earth to help people do. And I am so grateful that I have found a career in doing it. You don't have to be me. It is okay to still not enjoy it. We are talking about disagreeable, potentially violent, and incompatible people, situations. This is the friction in life, right? But just keep in mind we cannot help what we don't understand and acknowledge, right? We cannot help what we don't understand, which sometimes we don't understand, or we don't acknowledge, which means, yeah, we do understand it, but we're not putting a name on it and we're not doing anything about it. It's that fight, flight. It's that sensation of how do I manage myself when I'm put into being at odds, when I am put into something that I'm not sure what to do about it. Okay. So I think it's simple to point out a few professions that really work with conflict. Um, Lawyers, lawyers, yeah, lawyers work with a lot of conflict. I really will tell you, lawyers get a bad rap. I know a lot of incredible attorneys that do a lot of incredible things for their clients and for their communities, and yet the lawyer jokes are all about killing us. It's not cool, man. But yeah, lawyers wade into a conflict for a living. Litigators go to court and they are on one side of the fight. They are not looking for a way to build a bridge. Their job is to take care of what the client wants and try and get it through the court system. That's what they do. That's a very conflict heavy profession. I think doctors find themselves in conflict because they're so dependent on what their patients tell them, then what the lab results tell them, what their education tells them, and they're trying to pull information from a lot of different sources and figure out how to make it make sense. I mean, that's a puzzle to solve. So there's conflict in a puzzle, right? I mean, when you dump out a brand new jigsaw puzzle, which we just did one at my house over the holidays, there's all these pieces, and you have to kind of come up with a plan and a strategy and start working on it. And sometimes they take longer than others, and sometimes you come together really quickly, and sometimes you're really truly just trying to figure out where that one stupid piece went and you're looking on the floor the whole time. Yeah, doctors kind of have that experience. I think sometimes we don't give them enough credit. I think CPAs have conflict because they know what the rules around the tax code are, and they know what their clients telling them, and they're trying to help everything goes seamlessly, but also everybody wants to pay less in their taxes. That's a lot of conflict. Retail, parents, I mean, the list goes on and on. I don't know of very many jobs that don't have to deal with conflict. So once again, we're back to that. Okay, what is it? It is that thing. It is that unnamed process or experience that you are in, whether you want to be or not. So I want to give you something to think about. Just bear with me a second. You've probably never considered this, but new beginnings come from a conflict with something that already exists. Okay. Now, there are songs that use all kind of like, but there is nothing new that does not come from somebody seeing something that already exists and saying, that's not right, or that's not good enough, or I don't think that solves my problem. So conflict is really not a bad thing, right? I'm trying to give you a new way to think about it. It's not all bad. It's not the person who constantly is in timeout, right, in your brain, you don't need to be afraid of conflict. So back to what I was talking about, in every new beginning, there's a conflict with something that already exists. So let's think about this. That means there's some kind of need that's not being met. Well, we all want our needs met. And if we stay and not change and not willingly go through a little friction to get to the other side, then our needs aren't really being met. I'm not interested in that. There's maybe a block in your path that you're going to have to address to keep things moving. You can think about, I don't know if you hike at all, you're on the trail, you get to that Y, there's a great big boulder with the sign on it. You cannot just keep going forward and ram yourself into the rock. I mean, you can, but are you gonna? Because you have a little bit of sense to yeah, probably not. Unless you're looking at your cell phone, like some of my teenagers, and you run into things because you're literally not looking at where you're going. And that's your fault. And I can't help you with that. You got to look up, folks. But a blockage in your path can be all kinds of things. I mean, I just used a hiking trail as a concept, but it can also be fear, and it can be a financial concern, and there are all kinds of blockages you're going to have to stop and address, right? You're going to have to go through that hard part to get on to the next part. That's conflict. There's a need to end something so that something new can begin, right? I love movies. I love to watch movies, but I'm always amazed when the sci-fi movie always wants to go there and say, but now there's no death and we'll all just live forever. And my brain goes into overdrive of there's not enough food and there's not enough housing. And are there any children born anymore? And why wouldn't you want children? And maybe we just want to be so self-centered that we never would. Yeah, no, there has to be an end. There's a cycle to life for a reason, right? I don't want to live forever. I don't know who writes those movies. I personally do not want to live forever. I want my story and my life to have purpose and meaning, but it ain't meant to be here forever, right? I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to let the next generation do their thing, and it's going to be great. I have to find an end at some point so that others can have a beginning. So I want to leave you with a simple thought. Conflict. Let's talk about conflict. Conflict isn't the boogeyman. All right. It's actually a part of the process for something new. So when we understand that conflict is just a part of the process to new things, I hope it makes you feel less anxiety. I hope you put less pressure and less stress on yourself when you approach a conflict or you have to work through a conflict. Because what is conflict? It's being at odds. It's trying to both hold the same space when it doesn't work. But it's also the process to new things. It's a process to new beginnings. Just getting this podcast off the ground has been total conflict for me. It has. It's so new. I don't understand it. I don't think I do these recordings very well. I don't know that I'm putting out anything anybody wants to listen to. I want to do something that helps the world and is not one more piece of noise. It's a conflict to me, but that was the conflict on my way to this new beginning. And now we're off and running. And I'll go back again to say, please give us some feedback. Tell us what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy. We'd love it to be positive, but we need some negative in there too, so that we can do new things well. And come back and listen to us again, because this is going to keep going, hopefully with an audience that actually does want to learn and listen. I'll say again, I'm Lynne Nash, your host. I am an attorney mediator based out of Dallas, Texas. I am not your attorney, but I am here to be a teacher. And I hope you learned something today. And I hope this will lessen your anxiety when you hear the word conflict. Thanks for listening.